Good afternoon, friends on Facebook. Here we are in Antalya. My name is Jamila Mahmood. I'm the Under-Secretary General for the Partnerships at the International Federation at the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. I have the pleasure of the company of Mr. Franchesco Rocca, our President-elect of the Federation. First of all, Franchesco, please allow me on behalf of the Federation to once again congratulate you heartily on your appointment as President. I mean, the unanimous decision has been well heard and everyone is quite delighted that you are going to be the incoming President. So congratulations once
again. Thank you, Jamila. Thank you.
So we are here with our Facebook Live followers, really to have a conversation with you, Mr. President. First of all, maybe to get a little bit of reflections before we move to the future, to look back at the past a little bit, and maybe a reflection on, the governing board under President Konoe, who will be leaving us tomorrow as President of the Federation.
Well, I think that we are very grateful to President Konoe for his wisdom and the way he has led the Federation during all these 8 years. And we made a very good step forward. I just want to remember one of many, because for me it was in my heart since the beginning, the improvement that we had in the youth policy in the IFRC about the role and the engagement of the youth. And in a few hours we are going to vote the amendment about the new way on which the youth can choose their own representative at international level, and this is a very important achievement.
Absolutely, and I think it's delightful that you and President Konoe share the same vision about youth and volunteerism, which is so important for the Red Cross and Red Crescent.
This is crucial. We are a volunteer-based organization. This is some time, and I hope we can talk about it because it's very important to look to the future, about the foresight, and you know that you are a master on it. But then it's important that we are stuck on the legacy of our founder.
Absolutely.
And in that little book, in the Memory of Solferino, there is everything about us. And he talked not about big organization, he talked about the action of every single person that can change the life of another.
And in your speech before the elections, President Rocca, you talked very passionately about individuals who changed your life, individuals who made a great difference to the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. And you have fundamentally been one of the very strong voices in pushing your government in addressing some of the migration issues in Italy. So as you move forward in your new role, where do you see the huge challenges that you might face in this very complex environment we live in now?
Look, my concern in this moment is that there is a risk that we lose our humanity, our capacity to have empathy with others. Empathy is the key word to understand the need, the tears, the pain, but even to share the joy that of every person that we meet on our way. And in my life, this is what I wanted to share with the assembly yesterday. If I've tried every day to be a better person, it's because I've met so many persons that sitting with them or talking with them, opening my heart to them, they help me to be a better person.
Absolutely.
This is only thanks to them.
Well, with the changing dynamics in the world today, we have increasing number of complex environments. We have a lot of protracted crises. We have hunger and famine hitting us in this day and age. We also have large migration of people. We have diseases that have become disasters themselves. Where do you see, yourself as a president leading the board, and how can the Federation do a better job in addressing all this?
First, I think that as a governing board, as a president, it's my duty to push all my colleagues, which are very committed to, of course, but to improve our capacity to be trained and to work with the local community, to engage the local community. Preparedness at local level is the key. This is something. So on this, I think that we have to start also to improve our capacity to share best practices at regional level or at sub-regional level, where maybe there is a lot more in common about cultural background, the social dynamics. This is something very, very important. On the other hand, as President of the International Federation, I think that about all the big challenges and the protracted crisis and all the other challenges that you mentioned, we have to raise up our voice. We have to speak up. Too many unheard cries, too many hurts people that is not listening to the governments, the politicians, and we have to help them to set up policies that respect the dignity of everyone.
And where do you see huge opportunities, Francesco?
Well, first the connectivity, and we are using one of them.
Yes.
I think it's very easy to spread the messages,
yes.
and this is another key. I think we are doing a huge job, but even on this, our nexus is so huge. And my dream is that we have millions of volunteers that are using our social network. Is for one day, my dream is we start to use at the very same day, the same hashtag, the same keywords. We can have a huge potential to make the difference that we can impact, because we can reach millions of people. And this is only about communicate. And for me, this is very, very important.
So you raised the importance of the Federation's role in advocacy, really being a global voice, representing communities. In your journey through the Red Cross and your numerous experiences and your rich experience, what would be some of these really personal journeys that you've undertaken that maybe you want to share with some of our friends watching on Facebook?
Look, there are many nowadays. This is a very good question, but at individual level, I've made. I remember two journeys that I've made in the recent years. One in Gaza, one in Syria. And the volunteers that I've met, their courage, their bravery, but also some confidential word that I shared with some of them, and how they impressed me about the courage to put the heart beyond the obstacle. Sometimes even with the family, asking them why you are doing this, why you put your life at risk every day on a daily basis, because they care of humanity. I remember when I was back from Gaza in 2014, I closed the door and I didn't want to talk for 2 days with anyone. I stayed at home just to rethink about all the emotion that the people that I've met gave me, and about this level of suffering that I found in that occasion, and demanding why, how can we cope? Because of course we are completely neutral, but at the other hand, we are not neutral when we are confronting humanity. We are fighting for humanity, so we have to find the right balance between neutrality, which is strictly mandatory for us, and the duty, the imperative duty to speak up for humanity. This is the key, because that time I found for myself so difficult how I can communicate my emotions.
You've come also at a very exciting time, Francesco, when we have had Strategy 2020 that has guided the Federation and its 190 national societies in our priorities and how we go about to achieve them. Now, we're now embarking on a very important Strategy 2030 journey, as you have seen, and you've been an integral supporter to the Solferino Academy, and we're looking at it as future-proofing our Federation and measuring our collective impact. So what are your views and what are your ideas around Strategy 2030 that you might want to advise the board and ourselves?
No, of course, first of all, we have to be able to read the dynamic of the humanitarian arena. So this is imperative for us, and starting from the outcomes of the World Humanitarian Summit and the discussion that we have had at international level, I think that we must be prepared and increase our capacity to be prepared at local level. Local actor will be fundamental. So on this, the Federation can play an extraordinary role to work close to all the 190 colleagues around the world, to support them and to help them in be really well prepared to support community in case a disaster strike.
And what about looking to the future? What about how the Federation might be in the future, and how we might use some of the knowledge we have from Futures and Foresights to help us shape Strategy 2030?
Yeah, first of all, let me thank you. You know that also as Italian Red Cross, we have had the idea, about this. We shared, we had a discussion, and you remember how you endorsed since the beginning. I think that working on future and foresight is something that helps us to think out of the box. Too many unknown challenges, and sometimes we are forced to confront with something that we couldn't imagine before. So this work on future and foresight is something that should be mandatory. So everyone should pass through this experience and make this experience a part of his own personality, of own background and cultural background, able to be to read the challenges and even the unknown one. This is for me is another key on which you are doing with your team an extraordinary job.
Thank you. I think that you touch on two very important things. As we look forward, we need to also look back and look at the journeys of people who've gone through crisis and also chronic situations. And you talked about the importance of local action and how we as a federation need to be the real champions and guardians of local action, because this is what we do.
Yeah.
But I'm really encouraged that you're also saying that as we look at what is traditional and what is local, we also need to realize the world is changing around us.
Yeah.
I think this is really important. Now, youth have been so integral in a lot of the work you do. You're seen to be a real champion of young people. I remember how you were so proud to bring your volunteers to receive the Henry Davidson Award, is that right? At the last international conference. Now, how would you look at the youth in shaping some of the things we do as a federation?
I think that this is sometimes is the same experience that we have at our own personal level in the family. So that when our son grew up and started to be very demanding with us, and we are so linked to the past, and so no, this no, and then we realize in 1 second that the world has changed, and they are the one that are bringing in the family the future, and which is the current present now. And I think that we need to have the same approach in our organization. We do need their enthusiastic approach and find the right balance of the experience of the world of the adults. This is the key point. Enthusiastic approach, integrity, because there is no space for gray when you engage with youth, and this is a good thing. And I think that we do need also this way to deal with the challenge that we have. And then on this, I think that there is a huge potential in the reform that we are going to approve. I hope that our General Assembly is going to approve in a few hours, and about the enthusiastic outcomes that we had from the youth meeting in the last days. So I'm really excited to work with them in the next future, as I did in my national society. Mm-hmm. If we achieve what we have achieved in our national society, it's because we found the right balance. It was not easy, because of course we are always the one that say, okay, yes, but this is the way this is thing that's to be done. The other way, the other pushing, and this is sometimes it's difficult to be managed, but it's really a very extraordinary experience, and the results are, this is more important, are really extraordinary.
And this is great to hear from you, because I think youth are very important to us, and we are trying to increase our number of volunteers and engaging with young people. But I also hope that the youth in the Red Cross will also be ambitious and not become little bureaucrats. I think that it's very important we get young people to also think outside the box. So it's great to hear that. Now, Francesco, where do you think we will go to in terms of our how do we look at our role as a federation in the broader humanitarian agenda, and what is your view on partnerships with non-Red Cross?
Look, I think that we must be open to the dialogue with all the other actors in the field at the governmental level, because I always found in my life, in my experience also as a manager, as a leader of the Italian Red Cross, that you can only be enriched by being contaminated sometime. Of course, being stuck, as I said at the beginning, to our 7 principles and to our mandate, but on the other hand, it's an extraordinary opportunity to be engaged with the other actors. So I'm looking forward to meet the colleagues of the UN agencies and the other actors of the field, and also to engage the private sector, because this is another challenge that we have.
Yes.
But look, again, and I come back to the point that we raised for a second when we were talking about the young people and the young volunteers, to engage the private sector. It's the integrity and accountability is another key word. So the role of the Federation in this, when we mix this globalization, but the role of the local actor, the key is in the integrity and the accountability. And we have to support the national society in creating and setting up policies that make them accountable. Because if you are accountable, if they are well prepared, as our founder said, think to be well prepared.
Yes.
Money will arrive.
Yes.
But the duty is to be well prepared. Now, if you are well prepared and accountable, there is no, I'm sure we will have a lot of partners that will ask to work for us.
It's been great talking to you, Francesco, but I know you have other appointments, but maybe if you could just, what is a message you want to give to all your fans and your viewers out there?
No, not fans, but to all the volunteers. That I try to be your president, the president of volunteers, to bring the voice of the volunteers. I'm a volunteer. This is my history, and this is what I try to do during my mandate and in meeting a lot of people in the next 4 years. So I'm looking forward to meeting you in your country, visiting you, and thank you for the huge support that I'm sure you will give me. Thank you.
So thank you, Francesco, and thank you, viewers, for spending time with us. We are delighted again to welcome President Francesco Rocca as our president of the Federation. I've had the pleasure of working quite closely with him on a few issues, and we're very excited of the possibilities. And we hope that you will steer a strong governing board supporting our federation, but most importantly, so that we as a federation can create more impact on the ground, excite our young people to become volunteers and become a really strong federation that is principled and has values that are just timeless. So thank you so much, and all the very best in your next 4 years. Thank you, Francesco.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. Yeah.